Hi, this is KY, and with me is my partner, Vinny.
Hey, how you doing?
And today, we're going to be talking about PAX on Two on the Vine. Um,
Are you drinking something?
I was just drinking some
What are you drinking?
bullshit water.
Really? I'm drinking some bullshit water too. What is it? Maybe it's the
It's
same
called
thing.
it's called Propel.
Oh, I've heard of that. It's not what I'm drinking though. It's actually not water. I don't know why I said that. I'm drinking Arnold Palmer's strawberry half and half. Yeah.
The Arnie Parmy.
The Arnie Parmy, yeah.
My friend used to mix vodka into those, and he used to be like, "Yo, you want some Arnie Parmy?" So I have some very distinct memories of those.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just drinking shitty workout. I don't know why I bought. It was on sale. To be perfectly honest with you, I bought 12 of them, and I have to be honest. It doesn't even taste like real anything. It's just like synthetic, like kiwi strawberry dreck.
It's sugar water, basically.
Mm,
I mean, isn't it like infused with vitamins? and
that's what
stuff?
they say.
Yeah, like to keep you hydrated and to infuse your blood with vitamins. I
I
think.
haven't felt any more energized since I started drinking it.
Yeah.
In fact, I feel my blood sugar level getting so low from drinking this that I'm about to pass out. So
Oh man, I could see that. I mean, that stuff. I don't know. I always feel iffy about flavored water and like special water or miracle water or any kind of water. But at the same time, when they just market regular old water in a bottle, that also seems like a ripoff. So I don't know.
yeah, I agree. Speaking of miracles, did you hear that there is a thing that you could eat that turns sour food into sweet food?
Yeah, actually, Carrie's tried it. She's done it before. She had I forget who gave it to her, but she tried it and it was apparently very bizarre. Do we still have that sour shit? That sour to sweet nonsense? Forget about it. So,
So, today we're going to be talking about some stuff. We're going to be talking about PAX mostly. And we have a segment
yeah, a
for
new
you
one.
viewers. When I say viewers, I mean listeners, of course.
Yeah, I mean,
Unless you're theater of the mind kind of stuff.
yeah, I mean, if you haven't viewed the description of this podcast, please do, because I'm including one of the best pictures from PAX. We got a lot of pictures, and this one is easily gonna be my my avatar for many decades to come. So,
Well, that's funny because I think that picture is a joke, and I think you're a joke, and I'm quitting the podcast. I'll see you later.
all right, bye, fucker.
Well, no, what I was going to say was we have a segment today that I'm very excited about, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. KY introduced some ideas that may or may not be ripping off another person, but don't worry about that. We'll talk about that later on.
Yeah, don't worry about it. So, Pax, you didn't tell me about your bus ride home. Was there anything to note about that?
Well, we're starting with the bus ride, which is interesting. Yeah, I have a few things about the bus ride. First, I'll just say the bus ride back was from Boston to New York City, and that's a good 4.5 hour ride. Immediately, I get to a seat. There's not too many free seats by a window, so I grab the window seat, and there's a tray in front of me, and on the tray is a lone banana.
Oh yeah, I think I heard about this on stream, but go on.
Well, I took a picture of the banana, and it was just there. And I actually asked the person who was to my immediate left on the other aisle, I said, "Is this your banana, sir?" And he said, "No, I guess you get a free banana with every ticket."
Oh yeah.
And
Free
I said,
bananas.
"That's awesome." So for the ride home, I watched as the banana danced because the vibrations from the bus were making it like bounce. So it was the best friend I've ever had.
Yeah, it made the. I'm sure it made the. How long was the trip? 5 hours.
It turned out to be 5 hours with traffic.
Yeah. So you watched this banana for 5 hours, and time was like nothing. It just, before you knew it, the sun was down. You were at.
Just
Yeah.
Yeah, the sweet emanations of the banana kept me enticed and
Entranced.
excited.
Yeah,
Right.
hypnotized. I have a similar story, I guess. One time I was in a hotel. Must have been like 15 or 16, and we were on an elevator, me and my aunt and uncle, and there's an emergency telephone box like they have on elevators in case, you know, you get stuck or something. So as we're going down, my aunt looks at the box, just decides to open it just to I don't know. I don't even know why she did it. But inside there wasn't even a phone. The only thing inside the emergency phone box was a muffin. Like it was like an emergency muffin. Like just going down and open the box, say something went wrong and you need to make a phone call. You open that box, all there is a muffin to save you.
Hello, muffin. Muffin, I need your help.
Save me, muffin.
I can't. I don't understand. I've been shouting into the muffin for 20 minutes and no one's arrived.
And it's weird because there was no trace of a phone either. Like you think there'd be a muffin and like the phone that's supposed to be there, but no phone, just muffin.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
absolutely unbelievable. That's what I'm talking about when I say that we need equality for muffins in this planet.
Yeah, I mean we could just replace all practical appliances with food items. So you just find, you know, muffins and bananas and pastries everywhere. You open your drawer to get some scissors or something, and instead you just find some Twizzlers, and you're happy.
I wonder why my car's not working. I open up, I look at the engine. It's just like stitched together bananas.
It's a cornucopia.
Oh, God.
Because that, to me, that would be the engine equivalent, you know.
Oh, right, yeah. Cornucopia would be perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just a bunch of different things all like spilled out into the, you know, where the engine should be. And why is this car not working? So I just Flintstones my way to work, you know, no problem. Yep. But so that's good. That was my my coming home story. But you know, let's talk about what happened on the way to PAX.
Sure. Which
is absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
For me, it was, you know, you live in Boston, and for me, I live in New York. So what happened was, Reds, a moderator and a friend from the stream, he picked me up, and it was snowy, and it was gross, and it took a long time to get out of New York. But once we hit Connecticut, it was super smooth. The ride was easy, and we got to Boston, and you know, then it was basically just autopilot. It was like craziness for 3-4 days straight.
Yeah, pretty much. Before the sickness, you know, settled in.
Yep. Before the sickness came in.
Before the sickness came, there was only video games.
There was only the games, and now everybody's got the PAX. It ain't like it used to be.
I didn't think much of the PAX when it came through Boston.
How I underestimated them PAX. Yeah. I feel like before we got sick though, you know, like I said, the ride up was interesting. It was like I went from winter to slightly less shitty version of winter in Boston.
Less winter, yeah.
You guys had a lot of. I can't believe the snowbanks in Boston, guys.
Did you see the picture that I just tweeted earlier?
Yeah, it was a mountain.
There's a mountain, a literal mountain of snow outside Dunkin' Donuts, and I use the word literal because the bottom is like all black and shitty from like, I guess, like the exhaust of cars driving by and whatever, and then the top is like a white snow peak. Like it seriously looks like a mountain, and it's going almost up to the roof of the Dunkin' Donuts. And now it was the side of the building, so you know the front was still cleared out. You could still go and get your donuts, but they just have a mountain that you could probably just climb up and walk onto the roof from.
He's not wrong, by the way. I'm looking at the picture right now. Go to his Twitter, which is @livebyfoma, FOMA. Just go there, take a look at this thing. It's a mountain. He's right.
Mount Duncan. I christened it.
You know, the snow is more or less melted in New York. Just before we talk about PAX stories, I'll say this. When I left Staten Island, it was winter. When I came back, most of the snow was gone. It was like 55 degrees. It was like birds were chirping. I don't know what I time warped out of winter into spring. And then, of course, the daylight savings made the days longer. So I'm still discombobulated from this whole thing. Just like to let you guys know. I'm not sick. I don't got the pox.
The pox. The pox, sorry.
I liked it better the first way.
The pox.
But here, you know, here I am. I'm here. And I think now would be a good time to actually discuss what we did and how PAX itself was. Now, did you enjoy yourself?
I did. I had a really good time. I got to play more games than I did last year, because last year I played almost nothing, and that was one of my biggest regrets. So, like, I devoted all of Sunday, well, when we weren't filming, I devoted my free time to just going around the floor and playing lots of stuff. And I got to play most of the things on my checklist. So, and you know, it was great meeting fans. Because Vinny had a booth, which I'm sure you're going to tell everyone about. But yeah, I had a great time. I think I had a better PAX this year than I did last year.
And that's interesting you should say that, because I think this year's PAX was a bit smaller. Like it was a bit more condensed. Last year felt like a bigger show. Then again, Riot wasn't here this year.
Oh my God. So. Yeah, that was
we'll talk
a big
about
thing.
booth congestion shortly.
Yeah.
But you're going to be the one that's going to talk about the games more than I am, because you know, I didn't play. I played Monster Hunter, which you know, I own already.
Yep.
But I can share you guys a few stories. I can tell you a thing, but I can't tell you how the game's played.
You can tell me what you saw. Like you, I know you checked out what's it called? Wow, I can't think of the name. Splatoon. Did you like just stop by and watch, or did you get to play it?
No, I got a chance to look at it for a while. I didn't play anything, but I did get a chance to really kind of watch people play it, and it looked really fun.
Yeah.
People were having a ton of fun with it. Wooly and Matt from Two Best Friends apparently said that it was excellent. They loved it.
Oh man, I hope that there's a demo. Like I could see a demo really selling Splatoon. Like, cause I don't know. It doesn't have me totally sold based on what I've seen, but I have a feeling if I played it, I would like it so much that I would, you know, throw a couple shekels towards Nintendo.
Sure. Yeah, I would too. I would love to get a chance to have like a limited multiplayer demo for it.
Yeah.
The game does look fun, and people were very, very happy to play it. And it was just too congested. Nintendo's booth was basically just Splatoon and maybe Codename Steam and a few other little things, but it was still so packed with people trying to play Splatoon that I didn't even bother. I didn't even try. But you know, before I go into games, I'll talk a little bit about we had a booth in the sense that it wasn't a Vinesauce booth, but it was a YouTube network booth, the YouTube network I'm part of. I've explained this a few times on stream. It's called Screenwave, and they're actually really nice people. They're actually friends of AVGN. Like, they're people. They're not just like suits. They're like close to my age. Really nice dudes, and I had a great time. And they had a booth, and they allowed me to generously sit down for a bit. And we got a chance. KY and I got a chance to meet a lot of people. And that was surreal for both of us.
Yeah, really being even the most minor of quote unquote celebrities is very surreal. Like, and I can't stress the word minor enough.
No, I know, like Z-list celebrities, really.
Yeah. But even still, we had people coming up to us, you know, referencing the stream, saying like, "Hey, KY, I really liked your Dwarf Fortress streams," and to me, that's very heartwarming. Oh my lord, I can't even.
I know. I felt the same way. Someone made me sign their Tingle doll, I was just honored.
So I know that we signed some interesting stuff. Probably you even more than me. I remember we signed a hard drive. Was there anything else that you got to sign that I didn't know about, or what's the weirdest thing that you signed?
The hard drive was weird. I signed someone's headphones. I signed the Tingle doll, which was probably the weirdest.
Really? How big was the doll?
It was like just I don't know, maybe like 6 or 7 inches high, but it was really just weird to sign a doll. I signed people's passes, their 3-day pass or whatever. And then I signed a shirt, but nothing overly strange. The coolest shit that I signed was the Super Mario Brothers Super Show DVD.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I can't remember if I signed that too, but I was there when that happened, and that was really cool. The only thing that could have made it even better if it was VHS. But it was still amazing to see that DVD in that case in really good condition.
Yeah, and I was so happy to like sign it, because that means that they enjoy the stupid Mario Luigi stuff that I do, and I was just blown away by the support. Everyone was great. Someone made a sponge perler bead thing for me.
Yeah.
I could talk about it for a long time about how awesome you guys made us feel, and me in particular. I was at the booth pretty much all 3 days, at least for an hour or two each day, just because every time I tried to walk away, someone new, or like 3 or 4 new people would show up and be like, "Hey." So I loved that, and that was for me a highlight of PAX, if not the highlight. Just the amount of people that showed up and were like excited to meet us, and I don't think I'll ever forget it as long as I live. So that was cool. But that's something I've been talking about, and thank you all for showing up. I know there were some Two on the Vine fans as well, and it was great to meet you guys.
Yeah,
But
I mean, there was
that's
so
only
much.
one small portion of PAX.
Yeah, there was so much positivity. It was just wonderful. It was great. And of course, then we went to the bars, or the bar of the hotel that most of us were staying at, and had a grand old time. We connected with some fans in a more intimate setting. And
That's right. I got a chance to brick in some mouths.
Yeah.
I mean, drink with some fans. Fuck.
Yeah. You said you weren't going to say that.
I always screw that up. Well, listen, it was great, and yeah, we did get a chance to have some intimate times with fans. And when I say intimate, we got to yell at each other from across a crowded bar.
Yeah.
So that was fun, and it was a good time. I mean, without even going into the video game segment of PAX, just the people, the streamers. We met Hootie, Imakuni, Jen, Fred, Direbor, all these great people. Reds. I'm leaving out so many people. Kazi. So many people that we just hung out with and have had good memories and times with, and that is my highlight for PAX.
Yeah.
Without even going into the video games, that was my highlight, the people.
Oh, man. Yeah, I can't even add to that. So, because you just nailed it. It was such a great experience meeting everyone and just hanging out and having a good time. And I look forward to next year.
Yeah, me too. So now I want to kind of go into what we did. So we filmed.
Uh-huh.
And as of this recording, as of right now, us speaking to you, however far in the past this may be from when you listen to it, I have not edited the video footage yet. But there's a chance that if you're listening to this, it's on YouTube already. And we did a lot of filming, and we got a chance to interview some developers. We did Robot Loves Kitty interview, the Shovel Knight developers, Yacht Club Games.
Yep.
We got a chance to talk to, yeah.
There are the people I interviewed. There was Drinkbox Games, who made Guacamelee. Right. We did Behemoth, which I interviewed them about Game 4. I interviewed one of the level designers. I talked to the developers of Rain World, whose studio name I always forget, but those guys. I think that might be it. I think I only did 3.
And I did Soda Drinker Pro as well.
Right, Soda Drinker Pro.
And there might be a few other little things. There's going to be some comedy segments. There's going to be some good footage of interesting cosplays and stuff like that. So it's going to be a fun one, but it'll be shorter than the previous year's PAX video for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I'm really excited to see how it turns out. Of course, I do absolutely nothing to make this video other than the couple of interviews and holding the camera. You do all the editing, so thank you for that.
Well, no. The editing is the part that I'm used to. But could you imagine if I didn't have someone that knew how to hold a camera?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Just saying, you'd be surprised. Yeah. I mean, there are so many times I've given my camera to people. Hey, could you snap a picture of us? And I get it back, and it looks like Satan's blurry butthole.
And you don't want to say anything. You don't want to be like, dude, you pressed the button wrong, or because how complicated could taking a picture really be? You got
to focus, and you know how to focus, and you get the shots right. At this point, I would say KY has more experience with this camera than almost anyone else that I let hold the camera.
Yeah.
So there you go. I mean, now I just have to edit it, and hopefully it'll come out good. And I'll just say this. I'll tease you guys with a little something. Hot Pocket Truck.
Hot Pockets.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Now, what game would you say that you played, and you did play quite a few this year, what would you say was your favorite or maybe top 3 games that you got a chance to go hands-on with this year?
Oh, man. Okay. My top 3 are Downwell, Rain World, and Affordable Space Adventures. So all those are indie games. I think looking at my list of games I want to talk about, every single one's an indie game. But at the same time, what AAA game was there that you really wanted to play other than Splatoon? You know,
Overwatch was getting a lot of attention.
That's true.
Blizzard.
Yeah. But I mean, I can just look up gameplay footage of that anywhere.
Sure.
Whereas a lot of these games were, especially Downwell, it was like there's no footage of that anywhere. Rain World, very, very little footage. And Affordable Space Adventure is awesome, and that's coming out like in 3 weeks or something. So excited.
What is
that.
Affordable Space Adventures? That's you know what? I didn't see that game. I didn't get a chance to play it or anything, obviously. But the name intrigues me. What is that?
Okay, so basically it's a Wii U game, and it can be played either co-op or single player. On the screen is a spaceship, like just a little cruiser, enough for a small.
I got
crew.
it. You did show me this.
Yeah,
but explain. Yeah.
So you control this small ship going around a very hostile planet, kind of like Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet, if anyone's played that. But you go around and like there are lasers and chasms and monsters and various things, and you just need to navigate the planet in a very Metroid-like way while upgrading your ship. Now, what makes the game really special is that on the Wii U gamepad are all of the ship's systems. Like you have just a couple types of engines, like an electrical engine and a fuel-based engine. You have thrusters, which just control how fast you go. You have a stabilizer, which controls how steady your ship is while you're controlling it. And like a couple of other things, a mass generator, which makes you sink in water. Stuff like that. And with each of these systems, there's a power meter, which you can kind of think of FTL when it comes to the power meter. Like you can put a certain number of points into it. If the points are too high in any one system, your reactor will start to overheat. But sometimes you need to put really high points in something. Like let's say there are two lasers that are really close together and you need to go between them. You might want to crank your stabilizers to the max. But when you do, your reactor starts to overheat. So you need to go through as quickly as you can. You need stabilizers max so you don't touch the laser by accident with the wobbliness of the ship. And you need to do it fast enough that your reactor doesn't overheat, that kind of thing. The only other good example, or the best example that I can think of is the scanner. You scan enemies, and you learn what they're sensitive to. So say you come across like a giant snake creature and you scan it, you learn that it's very sensitive to heat. It detects heat really well. So you click the heat bar on your Wii U pad and it will show you exactly which systems use heat. So you know which systems to minimize, and then you need to make do with the systems that don't use heat. And if you do that properly, then you can get by the enemy undetected.
You know what this sounds like to me?
What?
This sounds like if I was on the Starship Enterprise and I had to handle every station myself.
Yes, that's exactly right.
But it's done in an easy, game. Okay, touch the gamepad, touch screen, and all your systems are there for you.
Yep. And that's kind of where the co-op comes into play. Like it's advertised as single player / co-op, because the co-op, it's kind of like you have an engineer friend. So you have one friend control the ship and control the systems like the flare gun and the scanner and fly around. And then you need to communicate with the person with the gamepad and say like, thrusters on, thrusters to max, shut off the scanner. This guy sees electrical, that kind of thing. And they can give you information about, because the information about what the enemies are sensitive to are on the gamepad. So there's a lot of communication involved. You can either have an engineer and a pilot, or you can just do everything yourself, which is what I did. And I had a blast having to... Usually juggling two screens is not necessarily a good thing, but in this game it worked really well. And I knew nothing about this game when I played it, so I had no expectations, and it really floored me. So I'm really excited to pick that up in a couple weeks. I think it comes out April 9th, but definitely look up some gameplay, listeners, and you, I guess, because it's awesome. It's really good.
That's something I'm interested in. Yeah, as a fan of spaceships.
Yeah.
But generally, just spaceships interest me. So when you say spaceship and various systems, I think I'm in.
Yeah, it's really well done.
So that's one to watch. Okay.
The other two I mentioned, did you want to hear about the other two? Okay,
yeah, I did.
So another one is called Downwell, which is a very simple action shooter. Roguelike, I hate to use the term, but it's a roguelite. So you're traveling down a well, as the title suggests, and you have a gun, and you shoot baddies in the environment, and you go down, collect upgrades, and so on. That's the core of it. Now, what makes it special is that kind of like how Shovel Knight is entirely based around the down thrust from Zelda 2, Downwell is 100. The core gameplay of Downwell is based around shooting downwards like in Cave Story. Now, you remember in Cave Story with the machine gun, how you
Machine gun.
Yeah, you shoot downwards and you can kind of float for a second.
Yes.
That's what Downwell is completely about. The only direction you can shoot is down. And as you shoot, you kind of get a little bit of floating, but you can't continuously shoot. You can extend the time through upgrades, but you only get a burst, so you want to use it smartly. And it also, shooting down also destroys the environment, so you don't want to destroy too many platforms, or else you might take fall damage. And within the environment are gems that you might break out, and when you collect the gems, you use those in shops along the way to upgrade your character. As you get deeper, there are more enemies, like more complex traps and enemies to work through. But it's entirely based around that whole downward shooting, floating mechanic from Cave Story.
I like the idea of games these days finding these mechanics that just were fun. Even if they never played Cave Story, they were like, hey, this is fun. That's cool. But like you said, Shovel Knight was based on both, I guess, the DuckTales down thrust and the Zelda 2 down thrust.
Right.
And the game works so well because of that mechanic being the spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind if more of these games that come out, the indie games, find one major mechanic that works really, really well and is super fun. Just base an entire game around that with like upgrades and various other mechanics that are kind of sub-mechanics to that one.
Yeah.
That would be fine for me. So this game also sounds pretty cool. And the name of this one again was?
Downwell.
Downwell.
It's going to be on Steam and maybe Xbox, but definitely on iOS and Android. It uses a virtual D-pad, which I've never been a fan of, but at the same time, I can't think of a better solution, like control-wise.
I guess the Moga.
The Moga. Is that the controller attachment thing?
I don't know. I haven't heard of it since it came out.
Yeah, I mean, they had controllers there that you could play on the phone with a controller that was plugged into it or on the screen. I just decided to use the virtual D-pad because that's probably what I'm going to end up playing it on until the Steam release, because I think it's going mobile first. But that was a hell of a lot of fun. It's very lo-fi looking, but when you see it, you'll get a grasp for the gameplay, which is just super tight and super solid.
Okay, that sounds cool too. And your number 3.
My number 3 is called Rain World, which the developers were nice enough to send me the alpha build that they used at PAX. So you may see me stream it sometime soon.
Very cool.
So in Rain World, this is a weird one because it's so hard to pitch without sounding fucking dumb. But so you're this is almost Greenlight guest here. You are a slug cat. That's the actual name of your creature. You're a slug cat. You're like this white. You almost look like a harp seal. You're this white creature with like little fluffy ears and a cat mouth and 2 hands, and you crawl along the world. You're in this kind of post-apocalyptic, like just like dingy, broken down future urban area, and you're just crawling around trying to survive. Now, what makes this game really special is the enemy AI, which is probably unlike anything I've ever seen. So in a lot of games, when you're, especially survival games like this, first off, I guess it's kind of like a Metroidvania. Every screen's connected into nodes, and there's a whole coherent map to explore. As you're exploring this world, there are enemies, and usually in most games, enemy AI is very easy to parse. Like, you look at an enemy and you say, okay, he goes around in this circle, and if I go into his line of sight, he breaks his path to chase me, right? Like, that's what it is in most games. In Rain World, it takes into account like 10 different aspects of AI, and then the enemy chooses based on the scenario. So like it uses its sense of sight, its sense of smell, its sense of hearing. It uses its awareness of the environment, like if it knows the nooks and crannies of the level. It uses its awareness of other enemies or other creatures. Like it might, for example, an enemy may decide to go for a lesser target instead of you that might be easier to hunt. So like if an enemy is hunting you, you might want to run it through a slower target because it may change its mind and hunt that instead and gives you a chance to run away.
Okay.
When I was playing it, I played it a bit and then watched someone else play it after me. The person who played it after me went into this little hidey hole. It was like a snaky thing that went into a small cave system, and she ran away from an enemy into this thing, and it looked down at the hole and sniffed, and then it walked away a bit. So as she's like gathering shit inside her hidey hole to throw at the enemy, like rocks and like little speary type things, and she's kind of feeling the waters, like, okay, is this enemy gonna fight me? Because as she would get toward the entrance, the enemy would slowly inch toward it just a little bit, and I'm not sure how it managed to do it, but it actually tricked her into thinking it was safe. Like, it totally looked like it was about to walk away or give up. And then just when she was barely close enough, it made a fucking mad dash, crawled into the hole, and picked you up. And just tore her to shreds. Like, the way the way the AI just hunts and interacts with each other is just, like, it's, like, unlike anything I've seen. It's super intelligent AI, from what I can tell.
Bold claims. Very bold claims. But I've played Quake 2. And I know your ruse, okay? I know that it's very easy for AI to know where I am, and therefore I don't buy it.
No.
I'll tell you what, the Keiko demons in Doom, they were able to...
demons.
The Kako demons were able to fight me and trick me.
They're actually pronounced cock demons. Like, it sounds bad, but it's true. If you look it up...
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, cock demons.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
I'm not even kidding. I couldn't make this up if I tried.
All right, well, here, I'll give you a better example. The Goombas in Mario Brothers, those motherfuckers are always out to get me. And I'm telling you, that's good AI. So if this AI in Rain World can meet or succeed in surpassing the Mario Brothers Goombas, I'll be pretty... With the cock demon, too. But that, too. I mean, but, you know, that's all right. Hey, look, it's fine. Give it a condom. That kind of stuff is exactly what I want in a video game. I want some good AI.
Yeah.
So that sounds cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's what made it special. There were some other aspects, like it looked really nice, very nice aesthetics, very nice animation, and overall, it was just a lot of fun. I've played a bit of the build, and it's great. The AI is just constantly surprising me, and yeah, I mean, look it up on YouTube and look out for it. I think it's a ways off, but it was good. That was
cool.
Yeah. Yep.
So there, your big three. Like
I played some others.
You did. What other games did you play anyway?
I won't go too in depth, but I played Armorkrog, which is the successor to the Neverhood. I had a terrible experience with it, but I was gonna do a rant about it, but I decided not to because in retrospect, I added up some of the reasons I had a bad experience, and I think it was just a busted mouse. So So I'm not gonna tear into the game about that. There is another one called Interloper, in which you're sperm. It's a sperm-based RTS. It's a mix between Sperms and Splatoon. I'm not even kidding.
Very good.
And then I played Game 4 and I played Severed, both of which were fantastic.
But not as fantastic as the other ones, perhaps.
Those three, Downwell, Rain World, and Affordable Space Adventures really stood out to me. Severed is really close. I almost chose that over Downwell. And Game 4 is great, but I didn't get a long time to play it to really get into the meat of it.
Right.
So,
well, Game 4 is a strategy game.
Yeah.
So it's a little hard to go to a place like PAX. You have this giant, massive people around you, and you have a limited time. It's a little hard to get into a game like that, but it did look great. And but I will say this, Behemoth had the best booth. As far as I'm concerned, Behemoth won just from the booth itself.
Oh, yeah, the booth was so cool.
There was a lot of space. There was so many cool, it was this big cylinder with screens and arcade type sticks for the gameplay. And it was cool because people were sat around the cylinder and, just looked really cool, looked great.
Yeah.
Then we find out that you can go inside, and that's where we did our interview. We went inside and it was a break room. There was coffee, there was 2 couches. It looked like the inside of the Matrix.
Yeah, the killer cylinder.
Meets it.
That's what I'm going to call it.
When Neo meets the creator, it was that pretty much. That was the coolest booth ever. And even aside from that, they had everything set up in a way that was aesthetically pleasing. Their merch was great, and I bought a Castle Crashers figurine, and it came in a tote bag that I would have spent $3 on anyway, and it was free. It was just here, have a good tote bag to take home your thing. And it was a really good piece of merchandise. I really, really enjoyed it. I have to be honest, Behemoth was awesome, and we got a chance to hear Stamper say he had diarrhea.
Yep.
That is one of my other favorite memories.
You want to tell the story?
Yeah, we wanted to get an interview with Tom Fulp because we thought Tom would be a good catch for the show, so to speak. And we tried to get him because he's on my YouTube network. And I said to one of my guys at the network, I said, hey, do you think it's possible, Brand, that we could go and get an interview with Tom? And he said, well, we'll go walk over there and see what happens. So we get over there. They're doing a signing, Tom and Stamper. And, well, it turns out that they were a little busy. So Tom said, I'm probably not the best for this. We're a little busy. Maybe Stamper, he would know better. You know, this is a better interview for Stamper. Now, this is while like 30 people are just there, just around us, ready to get their autograph signed. Stamper looks at me and he says, well, I've got diarrhea and I got to go take a big shit. But maybe when I get back, we could do the interview. So come back later. And if I'm not shitting, then yeah, we'll do it.
I'm sad that we didn't get Stamper after that.
I'm sad too, but I looked at him and I did not smile. I just like nodded. I was like, oh, okay, that's good. No problem. You know, like it was fine that he was just like advertising to the world that he had diarrhea. It's fine. All 30 people that were around him waiting for his autograph, people that look up to him, he was just like, oh yeah, no, I'm blowing chunks out of my ass later. So I'll see you later. I'll never forget that. We did not get Stamper. We did not get Tom. I did get a chance to talk to Tom Fulp for a little bit. As always, a very pleasant and nice guy who
so nice.
Apparently eats babies in order to retain his youth because he does not look a day over 23.
Yeah, no joke. The dude looks young.
So that's our Behemoth story. And there's one more story from the Behemoth booth, which I'll explain in a little bit. But before I do, I kind of want to ask you, did you have any like booths did you think any developer or anyone in particular had a really cool setup?
A really cool setup. Well, like the Behemoth, I totally echo that. I did want to elaborate a little bit on the arcade setup they had. So like imagine, so it's an Xbox game. Like it uses Xbox buttons, you know, A, B, X, Y. So the arcade setup they had was it was a gigantic A button, which was just like the confirm button. And then there was a joystick, a really small B button for going back. And then whenever you would finish a turn in the game, you had to hold down the Y button and a little meter would fill up just to confirm that you know that your moves are what you want to do.
Right.
On the arcade setup, it was just this giant Y lever that you had to pull and hold down, almost like a slot machine. And it felt so good that I just want it. I want that. I want that arcade thing. I would buy this massive ass $100 or whatever arcade setup that's just an Xbox controller, so that just to play this game using that setup.
It was that good.
It felt so nice, and it
looked cool.
It made my decisions feel important, even though it was just tutorial and probably couldn't even die. But I was just like, yes, make it so, and that would have pulled a giant Y thing. Yes.
No, I was just going to say, number one, do you think it's possible to make it so that we could be a couple, perhaps? Anyway, so what were you saying about the joystick?
It felt nice.
Good.
Yeah.
So I think when I was watching you play the game, and I have footage of KY playing the game, so you guys can look forward to that.
Oh, boy.
You'll see exactly what he's talking about, and it looked so cool. They had, they went through so much trouble to get their PAX set up to look as amazing as possible.
Yep. And it paid off, I think.
Oh, yeah. It definitely. Behemoth was my number one pick for best PAX presence. Some people were disappointed with Capcom because there was only a few tents that you could like see. Okay, so Capcom had a caravan for Monster Hunter 4. You can go inside and you can buy some stuff, some beef jerky from the game, quote unquote. You could buy postcards, plushies. I went in there, I got footage of that too. They also had another store for random other Capcom stuff like Mega Man, Resident Evil. So I bought some Monster Hunter stuff. I talked about it on stream. I got a Rathian plushie and a meat pillow. So tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did that, and I regret it, but I also
Really?
don't at the same time. No, no, no. The pillow was cool. It was just a bitch traveling home with it because it was took up so much room.
Well, that's why you take it out and you use it to sleep on the bus, you dingus.
Yeah, but I didn't want people looking at me sleeping on meat.
Yeah, no one gives a shit. Everyone just wants to get home when they're on a bus for 5 hours. Maybe for 10 minutes they'd be like, "Yo, check out this meat guy."
They were all staring at me. They were
Super-
like, "Is that Vinny? Is that Vinny from Angry Video Game Nerd?"
Is that Super Meat Boy or something? But yeah, I mean, they would get over it in 10 minutes. They would just focus on tuning out everything for as long as they could, and they would forget about it. And you would have a nice meat pillow to sleep on.
Yeah. Well, it was. I didn't do that because the seat was comfortable enough. But I will say this, just on a side note, when I first got to the booth, first day of PAX, the first people that came up to me that recognized me thought I was Angry Video Game Nerd.
Yep.
You were witness to this.
I saw it. They were like, because it was still a very empty floor ish. I don't know. Maybe the day was just winding down, and there was no one else at the booth at the time. Like Pat arrived, I think, shortly after us. So whoever came by, they looked at the screen. They saw an AVGN video playing. Then they looked at you, a totally different person, and they said, "Are you AVGN?" Wait, no. First they said was, "I'm a huge fan," and then you're like, "Oh, you watch the streams."
Oh, thanks.
And they were like, "Yeah, AVGN, right?"
I was like, not really. Sorry, but I got a kick out of it, and it was, if I'm AVGN, then you're Mike Matinee.
There you go.
Who we met, by the way. We met Mike Matei, and I got a chance to talk to him for a little bit. And he seemed like he was having a very busy show. He seemed like he was tired. So I didn't want to bother him too much, but got a chance to meet him, and that was a highlight for me as well.
We even briefly met James Rolfe.
I shook James Rolfe's hand. It was nice to meet AVGN, and really super nice guy. Like really just so grateful that people like his work. And I told him I enjoyed his movie, and et cetera, et cetera. He's just a cool guy. I don't think he's not even close to that AVGN character that he plays.
Right.
He's just himself. But just to name drop a little bit, I also met Brental Floss, who I was next to. He was cool, really nice guy. Pat the NES punk.
Mm-hmm.
He was probably one of the cooler guys I met too, because we got a chance to we sat next to him for a lot of it, and we got a chance to get to know him a little bit. I also met Man vs. Game,
mm-hmm.
who was really awesome, and he was very generous with his time. I got a picture with him.
He was super nice.
And, yeah, really, really great. And he had heard of Vine Sauce, and we talked a little bit. And then he wore a Pink Floyd shirt during one of his streams, and I complimented him. And, just awesome. So it was just, overall, it was a great experience. I even briefly bumped into Markiplier, and I made KY take a picture of us.
Yep.
And people, it's funny, since that picture, I hid it in an album, and people found it. They were like, "Oh my God, Vinny knows Mark." No, he was busy. I think I met him
much in passing
for a total of 20 seconds. I just knew it was an opportunity I didn't want to pass up. And he, again, nice guy. These e-celebs, I guess, if you want to call them that I am in some ways cohorting with, but very, very minorly. These e-celebs are just really grateful, nice people that I think, like I feel when I meet people, are just grateful that anyone gives a shit about us. So, it was cool to bump into these guys, especially Tom Fulp, who I've known about for the better part of my adult life.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they're just people that get busy. They're just super busy people. That's what I've learned.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was sorry, Adam, I'm going in circles, but I wanted to talk about the Capcom booth for a moment. It had the caravan, and it had little tents outside where you could charge your phone and sit on a pillow and play video games, and it had the shops and everything. I liked Capcom's setup because I'm a big Monster Hunter guy, so I enjoyed it, and I thought the caravan was clever, and I thought they had some good merch, and they weren't really showing too much stuff, but at least they had a nice presence, and they gave people a chance to relax. So I liked Capcom as well. And that's about it, really. Everyone else was just pretty much more or less the same.
Yeah, I mean, most booths are what you expect. You know, you see a big splash of whatever game it is, some merch on a table if they have, you know, a table to work with that has room for that, and the game and a couple stations. I mean, there was the Tearaway booth was really cool. Did you see that?
No, what was that one?
So Tearaway is a game by the Little Big Planet people, Media Molecule, and they it's a. Do you know the game at least? Tearaway.
No.
So Tearaway, it's a paper-based game, or like that's the big theme of the game is paper, like really colorful, really artistic. It was a Vita game that's going to be on the PS4 soon. Their booth just was the back of the booth was just this huge collage of paper, like loose paper, so it kind of gave the back of the booth like a texture to it, and everything was like really nice paper, really colorful, like cushy chairs to sit in to play the game, and it would just like it really stuck out. So I remember that, even though I didn't play the game. When I get a PS4, which with any luck will be later this month, we definitely want to get Tearaway when it comes out on PS4.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that booth was awesome. I can't think of...
Soda Drinker had soda.
Yeah, Soda Drinker had free soda if you bought their game. I heard it tasted like... I've heard mixed things. I heard it tasted like peppermint, even though it's not peppermint flavored. So,
yeah, it was a weird spicy... It was like a spicy cranberry soda. You'll see, again, if you haven't seen the video by the time you've listened to this, when you see the video, I am drinking some of the soda. And it was refreshing, but it was very bizarre. It was like spicy, like, you don't expect soda to be spicy, but it was spicy.
It had a bite to it, I guess.
It was a little, yeah, it had, like, various, it was earthy. It was an earthy soda.
The term you need to use is notes. I've learned this from drinking wine. When you talk about like little hints of a flavor, you need to say it had notes of earth or it had notes of peppermint.
Okay, in that case, it had notes of dirt.
There you go.
So, but I actually, I got to be honest, I enjoyed it for what it was because it was unique and it was really cold and I was parched. So, in fact, one of the reasons I wanted to do the interview was so I could get...
Yeah, and I remember being right next to a booth that I was like, Vinny, this is the Rain World booth. We were right there. And I was like, these are one of the people I want to interview. And you're like, let's do Soda Drinker Pro first. Then we walked halfway across the expo floor to do that interview so you could get your fucking soda.
We did. I took them so far out of the way.
And then we literally just turned around and went straight back to the Rain World booth and did my interview with them.
Yeah, but it was worth it. It was fun, and we got some footage of a Luigi in a Mario Kart vehicle. So that was good.
That was I think my favorite cosplay that I saw was that Ouija with the working cart. It was great.
But I'll tell you guys what though, the cool thing is the Soda Drinker guy who I interviewed, whose name escapes me, he actually watches Vinesauce a lot. He said he would watch the streams while he worked on his game. And I was just so happy to hear that. I mean, some of the developers that we spoke to, like Robot Loves Kitty, we've spoken to them a lot. They're great people. The Shovel Knight guy was, he loved the art that you guys did from when I streamed Shovel Knight, and he referenced some of it specifically. And that was great. And then, of course, when I go to the Soda Drinker booth and the guy's like, hey, I'm a big fan. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, are you serious? That's
his name's,
awesome.
Will Brearley is his name.
The soda guy, Will. Yeah.
Yeah, Will.
Will Soderman. Will Soderman was a great guy.
Are you, Will?
Are you, Bob?
Bob?
It's a long story about that. But we had a good time, and it was, the interview should come out, I think, really well. And you guys will see soon if you haven't already. But those are some highlights for me. Do you have any other specific highlights that you wanted to touch on?
Not particularly. Meeting Hootie was awesome because he made the trip out from California, and he's a super stand-up dude. Him and his girlfriend, very wonderful people. And it's weird. It's like the illusion's been broken. It's one of those things.
He's a real person.
Yeah, like just having a human figure attached to the voice now is weird. But
he fits his stature in a way because I get the wise old owl feeling from Hootie, and he really fits. It fits well, and it was, again, that's a highlight for me too. Hootie is He was the only guy I think I didn't meet that was in, like the streamers or mods that came, and I was just completely excited to meet him. And when we did, it was like we had a great time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't think of any other big highlights. I know, like, just like every podcast, I'm gonna think of like 10 things I wanted to talk about the second
After,
we're
right.
done. But yeah. But I mean, otherwise, PAX was good. My feet hurt a lot less this time around. I think you too, because you got to sit a lot, and me because we just didn't go as freaking early as last time. We would just show up, at 1-2 p.m., and that would give us about 4 or 5 hours, which was plenty of time, especially going all 3 days.
4 or 5 hours a day is enough for me with PAX. Yeah. And considering KY and I don't really like to wait on lines, for panels or for games, it worked out well. Yeah, we got to do mostly what we wanted to.
Yeah, there were a couple of games where I really wanted to play them, but the line was just too long. Like Titan Souls was one. A big one is Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. Have you heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
So you know about it.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah, it's like one person's got the Oculus on, and they're trying to defuse a bomb.
Yeah.
What is it with you cocculus today?
I don't know. I've got cock in the mind today.
I mean, myself. Have you been watching me stream lately? Is that why you have it on your mind? That's
possible.
Really weird.
It's possible. Yeah. But do you want to explain to the viewers about that game, or you just want to move on?
Before we do, I'll say this: the game looks cool because it is an Oculus Rift game where one person is defusing a bomb, and the other person it's a 2-player game. The other person has to go through a manual and has to explain directions to the person about how to defuse this bomb. So it really is the definition of cooperative gameplay. Yeah. And I'm not really interested in playing it, but I would love to be the guy that reads off the directions to the other guy.
Yeah, and the person with the manual cannot see what the person with the Oculus can see. Like, that's an important distinction because there's kind of a flow of information going between the two. Because not only does the manual guy need to convey what needs to be done to the bomb guy, but he needs to know what the bomb looks like in order to convey the right information. Like, he needs to say, okay, how many wires are there? The guy says, 4. And he says, is there a yellow wire? And the guy says, yes. He says, cut the yellow wire. Or, something like that. So he needs to get info about the bomb, so the information goes both ways. It's not just, okay, here's how you do it type thing.
Right.
So that's, I think, what really makes the game really cool. But it was like a 30-minute wait or something, and I was just like, fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, I have an Oculus Rift that I bought the DK2 a while back, and, I'm kind of giving it a rest for a little bit, but when I find some demos worth trying out, I'll try it. But I do know that there were some really intense lines for Oculus games, and I think someone said that one of the minimum waits that they saw was like, an hour and a half to get to play any Oculus game. And here I am, I have, I played a number of games on it, like demos, and I'm just like, I'm waiting for Valve. That was something that was announced recently. Valve
VR.
The Valve VR systems look really incredible, and that's something that I think, I'm not buying the Oculus consumer version when that comes out. I'll probably wait for Valve's consumer version, and I'll get their controller, I'll get their VR, and then I'll worry about VR. But for now, I've tried it. It has a lot of potential, and I think it's incredibly engrossing. But I wouldn't wait on an hour and a half line to play it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be brief about Steam VR because this could be a good, like, full-blown topic on one of the episodes.
Yeah.
But from what I hear, it's just 10 steps ahead of any VR to date. Like, it's just, like, infinitely more immersive, and you actually really feel present with absolutely no motion sickness or anything. It just feels like you're somewhere new. And that's just what I've heard, and based on the impressions I've read. And if it lives up to those things, which I have a good feeling it will, but, who knows, then it's just going to be there. Like, the Oculus, I feel, will be almost irrelevant. But we'll talk about it more in depth on another episode. Totally.
Yeah, that could be another thing. I had a story from the Behemoth booth, and it was a dumb one, but I wanted to tell it.
Sure.
You were playing the game.
Uh-huh.
You were playing Game 4.
Oh, yeah.
And I just got done filming KY playing Game 4. And I'm walking back to Hootie, and now I have a camera bag, a backpack, I think a merch bag, and some other stuff, just around my neck. And I'm like getting tired. My back hurts. And I start singing a little dumb song to Hootie. Like, wish didn't have so much goddamn stuff in and around my backpack. And it was just I just sing just because I'm dumb. And I'm looking at Hootie. Hootie's like kind of smiling. And I said to Hootie as a joke, just to be a dick, I said, and that's why I'm a big famous YouTuber. And Hootie looks at me, he laughs. And then the girl next to Hootie, some random girl, just looks at me. Because I looked at her briefly while I was singing this dumb song. And she looks at me and she says, oh, yeah? Well, how come I never heard of you? I said, Vine Sauce? She said, oh, never mind. And then her assumedly boyfriend who was next to her was like, are you Vinny? And he flipped out and she looked defeated. And it was we talked for a while and they were nice people, but it was, just to be a complete dick and actually say something that they recognized, like, I know Vine Sauce. It was one of my highlights as well because it was just such a funny, weird moment. Hootie was bursting out laughing, and we all got a chance to meet everyone, and it was just amazing. So that's something I'll never forget.
Yeah, it's one of those moments that really it puts some perspective on your quote unquote status as, again, a Z-list celebrity. Or I would say I'm a Z-list and you're like an X-list or so.
Right. I'm part of the X-Files, I think.
Yeah, there you go.
Awesome. I'll say this. My ego definitely got a bump on the head a little bit, but that bump was severely put in its place when I had to share a table with two best friends, with Matt and Wooly. Wooly, who apparently had watched a little bit of my videos that day. I was like, what? But he was an awesome guy. And I got a chance to sit next to them. And as soon as they got there, they had tweeted they were going to be there. A line of like 150 to 200 people formed. It wrapped around like 4 booths. They had to like have people moderate. So I'm sitting there. Brental Floss is sitting there. Pat the NES Punk is sitting there. And then 2 best friends are sitting there. And we're getting a few people here and there in dribs and drabs. And 2 best friends' line is so far around the corner. It's just insane. And I was like, yeah, okay. I was like, I get this. I'm not that big of a deal. This is fine. And it was slightly sobering, but I'm happy I had that moment to kind of put me in my place a little bit.
Now, imagine what it would be like if you were that popular and you had to deal with that line and you literally just like couldn't leave your booth. Or when you did decide to leave, it would be cutting off tons of people from meeting you. Imagine being in that position.
I felt bad when one person, if I couldn't talk to one person for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Fame is a weird fucking thing, and I still don't have that level, and I still don't fully understand it. But I don't know. I mean, I'm happy where I'm at, and I'm pleased that people care. But I mean, that level, like, or James Rolfe level, is just a completely different thing, and I wouldn't even know how to. I would probably get stuck for 4 hours just sitting there because I wouldn't want to disappoint anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's PAX.
That is PAX. PAX.
Until next year.
I'll just go ahead and plug one thing. It's called Too Many Games.
Oh, yeah.
Google it. This is going to be a thing in Philadelphia.
How about
this?
It's
a gaming convention.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm just going to go use the bathroom while you talk about Too Many Games.
Okay.
So I'll be right back.
All right. All right, everyone. KY went to go take a piss. I'm going to talk to y'all about Too Many Games. Too Many Games is a convention in Philadelphia, and you can go check out the information, toomanygames.com, or I think it's just Google Too Many Games, and it's run by the people that are on my YouTube network. And James Rolfe, Mike Matei is going to be there, Pat the NES Punk, a bunch of people. It's going to be pretty damn big. And I think I'm pretty much definitely going to this thing, and I'm excited. It's going to be a really smaller convention than PAX, between like 6,000 and 8,000 people. It'll be a good chance to meet and hang out. So if you haven't heard about this, maybe check it out and see if it's something you'd be interested in going to. And a 3-day pass is $35. So it's super cheap. I'm assuming there'll be vendors and some panels. Definitely panels. I think there's going to be some games, obviously. Maybe too many games. I don't know. Me, I don't really want to do anything. So I'll probably just be sitting there like a lazy bastard. And if you want to come meet me and, we'll talk shite for about a half hour, that's probably what's going to happen at Too Many Games. And KY's back just as I finished.
Yep, perfect. Perfectly timed. Doesn't feel good. Yeah.
Not really.
Feels
Everything
awesome.
hurts.
Oh, no. How are you doing? Are you still sick?
No, I'm fine. I didn't actually get specifically sick. I wouldn't say that I had a disease or a germs or anything.
Pox.
I would say I didn't have the pox. I was exhausted and my voice was kind of screwed up, but I felt pretty physically decent after PAX.
Yeah.
You got a little sick though, right? You got a little of that pox.
Yeah, especially the first day or two after everyone left. Like, thank goodness. But like the first day or two, I felt miserable, and after that, I really quickly got better. But obviously, you can probably tell from my voice, I'm still pretty congested. It goes up and down, but I feel fine, which is good. It's just like sometimes my head is just full of terrible things. So, but yeah, I do feel a lot better.
Luigi, my head is full of terrible things too. Every day I'm thinking about terrible things.
But Mario, Mama Mario didn't told us not to talk about these things.
Luigi, your impression's getting better and better each time.
Mario.
It's not bad, man. You're doing pretty good.
Thanks.
Yeah, we'll do a whole fucking show as Mario Luigi one day, and then we'll just quit forever.
Your throat will just be raw by the end.
I'll sound like Mega Man from Captain N.
Hey, Captain N.
Whatever.
Yeah. All right. So, did you want to dive into this segment?
I want to dive headfirst into this segment because it sounds awesome.
Okay. So we kind of stole this a little bit. I was listening to Mecha Gamezilla, who recently, did a thing for you, I guess. I mean, it really, he's just worthless. I mean, not a lot of people know him for good reason. I think he would have stolen Greenlight Guess if he had the chance.
I think he would have. Yeah, he probably would have taken Greenlight Guess. I just say this in his own language. He's a clunging gobshite.
Yeah, but
he had a good idea, I guess, for once in his life, and here it is.
He had this coming, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So the idea, I don't actually have a name for this segment yet. Maybe the viewers can suggest, and we are skipping Greenlight Guess this week, so get your submissions in for next time. But basically, I'm going to name a game that you have never played, a popular game that you have never played, and just based on what you know about the game, you need to tell me the plot of the entire game.
Okay. So we'll call it Mamma Mia plot guess Papa Poop Poop Papa Top.
Yep,
that's the segment name.
And I'm going to use that clip every time it gets introduced now. Just I meant to do that with with the original Greenlight Guess, and I just forgot to do it, and
No, don't worry about it. This one, though, if anyone can spell... Whoa. Ugh. Hang on. My crackles, audio issues. It would be great if I didn't have those during a podcast, but if anyone can actually spell what I just wrote, you'll win my respect.
Can you say it again? Do you remember?
Nope.
Okay. Well, they can rewind and listen and spell it, and we'll change it into something relatively dignified. Somehow.
Yes, maybe. Mm-hmm. But let's start with the rules once again for anyone that's curious. It's basically me and KY. There are some big games that neither of us have played, and we're gonna take guesses at what we think the plot would be. Very simple.
The whole game.
And I think the whole game, though, right? The whole plot?
Or, at least the whole premise, because,
Okay.
So, do you want to go first, or should I go first?
It's up to you.
All right. I'll pitch you yours, and then you need to tell me the plot of the game.
Okay.
So, the first game is Final Fantasy XIII. Tell me, what happened in Final Fantasy XIII, Vinny? I need to get caught up before I play the next one.
Right. Well, in Final Fantasy XIII, there's a character named Lightning.
Uh-huh.
And she is a character that has she's a badass, but she doesn't realize that she actually isn't as badass as she thinks. and she goes through this world, like corridors, basically, lots of corridors, and she meets a lot of people that actually help her on her quest, which is the quest to stop someone wearing belt and zippers. I don't know the guy's name because it's hard to pronounce, but I know, that the guy is evil. He wears a lot of belts and zippers, and you have to get the crystal and activate the crystal, and you get power. And you meet a guy who has a chocobo in his hair, Sal's, and he is his thing is he's a great guy. He cares about the little chocobo fella, but the little chocobo eventually gets too old to live in his hair, and has to fly away to Chocobo Island. And while that's happening, there's another lightning meets snow, and we all know that it doesn't lightning during a snowstorm. They don't get along. They're kind of like oil and water characters, but when they get together to stop the evil belt zipper man, they do eventually work together and they grow together. And you find out the world was suffering from a big catastrophe that was a crisis averted because the chocobo from Sal's hair, he flew back and he became a summon that you could use against the final boss. And then when the world is saved, you find out later on that Lightning's job wasn't done, and she becomes a hurricane, and that's her final form.
Wow. It's amazing how much accuracy you can get just based on like the small details that I mean, that was still way off because I played it, but there was a lot of in there that I was like, yeah, that's it. Like, he's got this. He's figured it out.
What was the closest that I got? What was the one that I got closest?
So there is I don't want to break the reality because it's almost funnier if we just leave it at your plot. But the chocobo does leave and come back in 13 too.
Jesus Christ!
Their summons do play a big role in things like gaining summons for power, and lightning does. Wait, yeah, I don't remember exactly the details, but lightning does either disappear or become something at the end, just like you described.
Fine.
But yeah, you got a number of pretty good details, right?
Good. Great. Chocobo Island. All right. So, that is fantastic. I like this segment.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to give you the plot to a game that you've never played that I've played.
Yeah, you want me to give you the plot.
Right.
Right.
Right. That's exactly what I meant. Let's start with Skies of Arcadia. Skies of Arcadia, as you know, is a Sega game. It was released on Dreamcast and later GameCube. So based on what you know about the game, tell me everything you know. You've obviously the plot in great detail. So let's hear it. What's Skies of Arcadia about?
So here's what happens in Skies of Arcadia. You play as Vice, who is a sky pirate with a sweet ass monocle thing that he uses, that he can use. It gives him information, kind of like a scouter in Dragon Ball Z. And he teams up with a pigtail girl named Aika and a big dude. And you're a sky pirate, so you're on a ship, and you travel around Arcadia, I guess the name of the world is. And you're collecting artifacts. And as you're collecting these artifacts, you realize that there is a bigger conspiracy at hand, that the government, or whatever the empire, I guess I should say, of the world is playing into. They want to find certain artifacts, and it's going to unleash something terrible if they do. They think that they're just going to become powerful, but no, it's going to get far worse. So as Vice, doing his sky pirate thing, flying around, being a pimp, and taking artifacts from place to place, it becomes something bigger, and he gets caught in the spider web of these until eventually he faces off with the Emperor himself, or he faces off with the big bad evil himself, which has been summoned. And at the end, he is victorious. The artifacts are now harmless, and Vice is a slightly more wealthy sky pirate, but he doesn't care. He says, I have the wealth and everything that I was looking for, but that's not why I do this. I do it for adventure. And they're like, should we settle down, Vice? Should we get a cottage? And he's like, no, we must continue the adventure. And they fly. It ends with them flying away into the horizon, looking for more stuff as pirates, then that is Skies of Arcadia.
If I told you got nearly 100% of that correct, would you believe me?
Maybe, because like it's not like those plots. They came from a very cookie cutter plot era, but I would be pretty surprised if it was 100%. Because
you were damn near 100%.
Really?
Damn near.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's specifics,
right,
stuff, but yeah, you're as an overarching plot, yeah, you got it.
I know my JRPGs. I do.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, good, awesome. Was there any big discrepancies or anything you wanted to point out, or did you just want to move on?
Let's move on.
Okay, so
Yeah.
your second game. You ready?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy 13-2.
Oh, fuck off. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, so Lightning is a Super Saiyan. She is now Hurricane. She's learned a lot from her experience. She gets a Cloud Sword at some point and Cloud outfit, I think. And yeah, and she does that. And Sal comes back into the game, and him and his Chocobo they're not together anymore. But Sal realized he can have a life without Chocobo friend, and he can do this. Like, he can make this happen. They have to save the world yet again because a lot of weird stuff was still left unresolved, like Gorgon the Destroyer, and they had to defeat him. And there's a bunch of new battle mechanics in this game that incorporates Lightning's hair and gunplay, and then eventually you meet some other great cast of characters that you've seen in the first game, and by the end of the game, what's this? It's still not over because there's more, but Lightning is better for the experience, and everyone gets along, and there's a romantic relationship somewhere in there, and there's sexiness, and there's more corridors, and fuck it, I don't remember the specifics, but yeah, there you go.
Wow, you've heard very, very little about 13-2, I'm guessing.
No, I don't know anything about it.
Like, absolutely nothing.
Nope.
Okay. Well, you got a couple of small details right, but otherwise that was if mine was close to 100% right, then your plot for Final Fantasy 13-2 was close to 100% wrong. I hate to say. Lightning isn't even the main character in 13-2. Maybe I should have started.
Called Lightning Returns.
No, that's 13-3, my friend.
What do you mean 13-3? Oh, fuck.
It's called Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13. And that's the third game in the series. The second one's actually about her sister.
Okay, what's her sister's name?
Her sister's name is Sarah.
Gail. Oh.
Sarah Gale. Her sister's name is Sarah, and it's a heavily time travel based plot. Which I thought those would be the two details you would actually know and build it around that, but you really knew nothing about that one.
I had no interest.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, I was going to do 13-3 for my third game, but I think I have a backup if you really don't want to do it.
Please avoid.
Okay. Well, give me my second one. Give me my second one.
All right. Your second one is Monster Hunter 4.
Okay, this one
What is the plot of Monster Hunter 4?
So here's what Monster Hunter 4 is about. You live in a tropical island, and on this island there are there are monsters everywhere, and these monsters kind of plague your small village's existence. In fact, it plagues it so much that they spend every waking moment of their lives either preparing to fight monsters or fighting monsters. That's all they fucking do. And when they fight monsters, the only thing they do after they kill the monsters is take the guts and the arms and nails and shit of the monsters, and they make better equipment. And it's just this constant eternal struggle. They say we need to fight all the monsters, and everyone dreams of someday just purging the island of all the monsters. But as it turns out, this is not possible. There's just always a stronger monster. If anything, the monster is feeding off of their obsession with the monsters, and the cycle goes on. And at the end of the game, there is no end. It's just you fought all the monsters, and even though you think that's all done, nope, more of them come, even ones you already killed. And the people, they don't think twice about it. They're not like, wait, maybe we should change our strategy. Nope, it doesn't happen. They're like, well, we gotta kill these ones too. So they don't change their ways. They're oblivious. They don't give a shit. They're almost complacent in their eternal struggle against these monsters, and the game just kind of ends, and it's pretty poorly regarded by fans. That is how Monster Hunter 4 went.
Before I tell you how close you are, tell me a little bit about the Gormagala.
The Gormagala is a fierce beast with wings and claws and breathes fire, and in order to kill the Gormagala, you need to wait for it to land and you need to attack its back end while it's shooting fire out its snout. And then it takes off, and those are moments when you can send your archers to fling arrows in the air, but half of them miss, so it doesn't even matter. And that's about it. And it likes mountainous areas.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for telling me about the Gormagala.
It's the Gormagala. Is that a real monster?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you made it up.
And thank you for telling me about the plot of Monster Hunter 4.
Yeah, that's what
I'm not
happens.
going to tell you what plot points you got, but I will say you're probably about 50-50.
Oh, nice.
Maybe even a little bit more, because you pretty much nailed the structure of every Monster Hunter game. There is a specific story in Monster Hunter 4 that goes a little bit beyond that. But as an overarching kind of guess, you pretty much nailed it, yeah.
Now, let me ask this. Is it actually on an island?
No.
I always thought of
multiple. There is one island. There's multiple locations.
Oh, okay. I thought it was... Okay.
That was Monster
Hunter 3. I
Hunter
always got
3
it in my
that was on an
mind... Right. I always had it in my mind that it was an island just because it's always such a tightly confined space, of 9 or so connected small areas, but...
Okay. Yeah, there's a ton of different areas.
Good.
But,
all right,
yeah.
I'll take that. A little over 50%. That's good.
Yeah.
Cool. Are you ready for your third one? So I'm not going to do 13-3 like I had planned because you knew surprisingly little. So, all right. Heavy Rain.
Okay. All right.
What's Heavy? What happened in Heavy Rain, Vinny? I didn't play it. You need to tell me so I don't have to play it.
Yeah, Ethan Hawke plays a detective named...
I almost spit out my fucking drink. Okay, go on.
Miles, I think his name is.
Okay.
And he loses his son, Jason. And another son of his as well. And there was a big funeral. There was a lot of problems, and there's a wife, and she is a very, very independent woman who don't need no man, and their relationship is on the rocks. And Ethan Hawke's character stops shaving because he is depressed because he lost his son. But the good news is Jigsaw from the Saw series comes around and he says, "Hey, listen, I know where your son is. I got him, and he's alive." And because he was kidnapped. I left that out. He was kidnapped, and Jigsaw says, I'm gonna play with you a game, and you have to answer the 5 riddles, and if you get the 5 riddles right, you might get your son back. Now, throughout this time, Norman Reedus comes around, and he shows up, and he's like, "Yo, I'm gonna solve this shit." And he's like, Norman Reedus, FBI. And the thing is, it's an X-File, but Mulder doesn't show up because he's still missing because season 8 Mulder goes away into hiding. So he's not even in the FBI. He can't handle this, and Scully's off on maternity leave. So the killer is basically no one knows who he is, and Ethan Hawke sacrifices his fingers at one point, and he goes through a baboon's asshole into a funhouse carnival. And he meets who is eventually the killer, which turns out to be tall Danny DeVito. And tall Danny DeVito, then they have a rooftop chase where he keeps screaming Jason over and over again. And then they knock him out with a plank. and then they go back to Patty's bar in Philadelphia and have a drink together. And Ethan Hawke is now a whole complete man yet again. Thank you. The end.
Oh yeah, okay. I can see why no one played that game. No, that wasn't bad at all. That was relatively close. I mean, I think is an easier one than 13-2, because the gist of the plot, but the details are all mixed and matched around. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I would say you were at a solid 60% or 65%.
Okay. You see, I watched some of the game streamed, and I only have a few plot points, so I was able to construct a story around that.
Yeah.
And I feel like I remember some parts, but yeah, it's I think the end is I got 100% right when they go back to Patty's pub and they have a drink together with Danny DeVito.
I remember that distinctly, so you nailed that.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, what's my third game? Did you have a third one?
I have I've got one last one for you.
All right.
And this one is hey, what do you know? I forgot which one I was going to give you. Do you remember?
No, you didn't tell me. You said you were going to keep it a surprise.
No, I thought I told you.
No, you told me. Well, you asked if I played Secret of Mana. I said yes. Oh, wait, no. It was Secret of Evermore. I remember now.
No. There was another one.
Really? Well, then you didn't tell me.
Shit.
Hang on. Let me look at our Skype conversation. By the way, we didn't really plan ahead for this, just so it doesn't sound like, I told you our games in advance.
Oh, no. There was definitely minimal planning in anything we do ever.
Let's see. Secret of Evermore, I said I played only the beginning. You said, I don't know, still don't know the plot. Let's do a call, and that was the last thing you said.
Right. And then I said, let's call. And,
well, I mean, I'm fine with ending it there. We could do more of them next week or in an episode or two or whatever. Unless you can think of one.
Yeah. Did you ever play Eternal Darkness?
No.
I know me stream it
a little bit, and I'm gonna butcher it. I'm totally gonna butcher it.
That's perfect. And then if we do this again, I'll remember the other one. But let's do Eternal Darkness. Now you've watched me stream a little bit of it, but you know the entire plot. You are an expert at this game.
Oh God.
You have studied Lovecraft, and you know exactly what kind of inspiration was drawn out for this game. So tell me, what is the plot to Eternal Darkness?
All right, so in Eternal Darkness, it opens up with the main character in the mid-18th century, who is a man that whose assets were ripped off for Limbo of the Lost, and this man receives a letter saying that your father's estate, you must sort out your father's estate, for it has. There's a lot of valuable objects there, and your father recently passed, and you must go there and figure out what to do with them. You must locate them and explore his mansion. So, this guy says, all right, I'll go check it out. He goes to the mansion, and, little does he know, things are not what they seem. As he explores the mansion, he starts to lose his sanity. He experiences things he should not. He sees beings that are not actually there, and they're plaguing him. They're coming out of portraits, and slowly the mansion turns into this labyrinthian contraption of a place, and it becomes not so much, I must find my father's stuff and sort it out, but he realizes that he is stuck in some kind of occult hell, and he just wants to get out alive. This turns into some a strict puzzle solving with bringing the right objects to the right paintings and opening doors using keys, while ghosts change shit and really fuck with his mind by changing the colors of the walls, and just making him really trip out, and at the end of the game it turns out that he is his father. he is that person. He is the man, and it was fucking with his memories retroactively, and he is the person. He's the owner of that mansion. He was there the whole time, and he was being hunted by, or he was being controlled by an incubus creature.
Okay.
That was the lord of the mansion, which was actually the site of occult rituals long before the mansion was erected, and he just found himself there, and they wanted him out. So they fucked with him in that way to hopefully drive him away. The game ends with him purging the occult being, and but at a cost. His sanity is permanently damaged. Things are back to normal, but he can no longer sleep at night. Things are just not the same, and at some point he also lost a loved one.
Oh.
The
well,
end.
That's a shame for him. Yeah.
That's Eternal Darkness. That's what happened in it.
I'm going to just throw out a few characters from the game, and I want you to just tell me in one sentence what they are and who they are, what their character's like. You know, briefly, very briefly.
Okay.
Mantarok.
Mantarok is a hooded creature with a mask, a skull, like a steer skull as a face that is a recurring character and goes around and hunts the main character as it's going on.
Tell me about Pius Augustus.
Pius Augustus was a priest who at one point christened the mansion, but little did you know that Pius was actually in he was actually in on the plot, and he was actually the central character that got the series of occult happenings to the main character underway. He was the catalyst.
Okay. Alex Roivas.
Alex Roivas is a friend of the main character who at the end of the game he comes looking for him, kind of like in The Shining. He's the guy from The Shining, and he shows up and promptly gets murdered, and that's the loved one that he lost that I mentioned earlier, was his good friend Alex. Was it Alex?
Yeah.
Okay,
I got one more.
Okay.
It's Chaturga.
Chaturga was the pet dog of the Mantarok. That when Mantarok falls, Chaturga appears, and you must fight Chaturga.
Okay. All right. Good job.
Thank you. What ridiculously low percent did I manage on this?
Maybe 5 to 10%.
Yes, got it. Nailed it.
Well done. Oh God, that is wonderful. I like this game.
It's good. You know, I'm glad that it's that we thought of it. That
we thought of it.
We thought of it. Yeah. Fuck that Mecha Gamezilla guy.
Yeah. No, I don't. Let's not ever talk about that guy.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed today's thing.
Yeah.
And I think we got a lot discussed. We talked about a lot of things, and we had some fun. And next time we'll probably return to viewer mail and to Greenlight Guess.
Yep. So keep sending them, and I'll get around to them when I can. Since there's 2 weeks of entries, I'll probably be more selective in which ones I choose. So be creative. But yeah. So
you're going to be creative. Clean.
You're going to submit the viewer mail. Clean.
That's right.
But yeah, that was a fun segment. I think when I'm too lazy to get the Greenlight Guest or too busy to compile it, because it takes a good little while to get it ready, then we'll do that instead, or just when we feel like.
Okay. Well, maybe we can do less than 3. We'll do 1 each next time.
Yeah, that'll be good. That way it'll be compact and.
Yeah. So this was fun, and we hope you guys enjoyed. And I appreciate, as always, you guys liking and whatever you do with a podcast. I don't know. Do you follow it? Do you listen? I don't know. Is there like a like button? Whatever.
Yeah, good point. Because I was going to say, if you do like the podcast, we really appreciate your support. Just subscribe to us on iTunes. If you haven't, leave us a rating. And if you're really so inclined to tell everyone how amazing we are and how we cured your cancer, then please leave a review.
My shingles were cured by this, but only the shingles.
Just the shingles. But yeah, leave a review if you're so inclined. Rate us. Do whatever you can do to support us, and we'll appreciate it very much. How do they contact us if they want to contact us, Vinny?
Right. Well, you see, here's what they do. First, in order to contact us, they have to go through what you call an email service.
Yeah.
And that is then relayed through a satellite back down to Earth, and then we get it. Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, that's the internet, I'm pretty sure. 40% right on that one.
Shit.
But we have an email, 2onthevinecast@gmail.com. That is the number 2 not spelled out. Or you can tweet us, which is at 2onthevine. Again, just the number 2. And those are the best way to contact us.
Yeah, I recommend that way through email obviously for viewer mail or listener mail. And if you need to contact me, don't. No, you can. You know how to contact me. It's just if you have a specific, very good question that you want answered on this podcast, that's the way to do it. 2onthevinecast@gmail.com. So that's the place to do it.
It's been a pleasure, Vinny.
Yeah, it was great. And, until next convention, until next PAX, whatever, this has been 2 on the Vine. And we will see you guys soon with another 2 on the Vine podcast in a few weeks.
Yeah, about 2 weeks. All right. See you guys next time.
See ya.